getting ready for takeoff. It's a take flight talk. All right, we got James Wudi and Fitz over there. All right, I got the point right today. And Jets victory, baby. Okay, he was in Lambeau. He seen it in person. Okay, he was there for this riveting victory, one of the best victories of the last decade for sure. New York Jets. Fitz, how you feeling?
Um, Riding very high. I'm still here in Wisconsin. I'll be heading back at the end of the week. I've got to say, I mean, the first half was frustrating. If we're going to be honest, I mean, there is nothing but happiness to feel right now with how this team obviously came together in the second half, because that's what the Jets do. First half was frustrating. I mean, we had turnovers that really didn't amount to much. Settling for field goals. The offense was pretty anemic in the first half. And unfortunately, that's kind of been something that we've seen before. But Breece Hall, I mean, for us to get him in the second round, I mean, I don't know what these scouts missed, but I'm glad they did, to go and have these teams pass him up. I mean, that kid is an absolute stud. And just a quick thing on Lambeau and Packers fans. I mean, I just got to say this quick. Lambeau, if our viewers, if you guys have not been, please, I beg of you, it doesn't even have to be a Jets game that you go to. That is one of the most incredible stadiums and football atmospheres that I've ever been a part of. We had 78,000 people in attendance, a lot of Jets fans. The Jets fans showed up. I actually met one of our friends over at Houston Jets Fans Instagram account at Houston Jets Fans. I met them at the hotel that we stayed at. And I must say this too, the Packers fans, that Midwest Nice, if you guys are familiar with Midwest Nice, obnoxiously polite. Me and Lord Trecep were over there. We're talking smack, screaming. I just got my voice back. And again, guys, apologies that we're recording a little late. Usually we record on Sundays. I haven't been able to speak until this morning. Those Packers fans are so polite. We're screaming Jets, Jets. They have the chant, "Go Pack, go." Me and Lord Trecep, we're screaming, "Go Jets, go." And we had some Packers fans join us. They were like, "Oh, Bud, you're playing pretty well, Bud. Go Jets, go, I guess." I'm like, oh, my God. And I was telling them, I was like, for the love of all things good, stay the hell away from Philadelphia and New York with this attitude you guys got. You're going to get beat up over there. You guys are way too nice to go to any of these other cities. But atmosphere was electric. The game was great. And I could not speak any more highly about the Packers fans being in good spirits and being very nice. And Lambeau was just incredible. But Woody, tell me how you are feeling on Victory Tuesday now. How we feeling?
I'm still feeling good, just as good as I was feeling on Sunday. One thing we definitely got to say, which you said, I'm going to say it again, is the offense was looking anemic that first half. I'm going to give the shout out to Mike LaFleur in the second half. I think something that we consistently see is that an adjustment is actually made in the second half to kind of get these guys better looks, to get these guys open. The defense, special teams, I mean, first of all, I didn't even realize they're like a hot fantasy commodity for this winning streak since Zach has returned. They're like one of the best fantasy units in the entire league. But let me just say, special teams, I think we got the best special teams unit in the NFC. Like, and we're talking about, blocking punts, blocking kicks. I mean, week 2, we had Braden Mann with the most elite onside kick I done ever seen. The special teams, one thing I got to give credit. There's a lot of things I got to give credit to JD for, but this is more JD Salah, is that they have their guys, and I think a lot of these guys were undervalued, but Salah, JD, they knew what these guys can do, and they've stepped up like beyond anybody's imagination. Justin Hardy, all right, the special teams captain, has been instrumental in the success of that unit. Brent Boyer, the only coach that we have that precedes Robert Saleh. He actually precedes Gase. He's been on 3 different coaching regimes right now, and for good reason, because he's been doing work. So kudos to all those guys. I mean, we already know about Quinnen. I think Quinnen and like Sauce get all the love, but that the entire unit. Quan had some big hits. Quincy, welcome back. Quincy made some plays. Like, I mean, Quan, that one dive. So who's different?
Quincy. I love for him to have been in an ambulance, taken off the field, 3 weeks ago, and for to come in and have 14 tackles and put on an absolute beating to Aaron Jones, to Rodgers. That guy is so good. I love him.
Yeah, I mean, the Williams brothers, iron is sharpening iron, and I love what's going on. You can just feel the locker room, like you feel it. Every single thing that Salah and Douglas have been talking about since their partnership started, you're seeing it, right? And they knew it. And it didn't look like it on the outside, so they're getting all this flack. The fans are unsure. But all of this that we're seeing, that now we're, take receipts, and we're putting Salah's face on, the longest receipts we can find, and all this hype, we might not even deserve all that, because some of us were in doubt when they knew the whole time, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. All right, we signed, J.C. Jackson, right, has that huge deal in LA, right? He is, the top regarded cornerback, right? He is not having half the season that DJ Reed is having for much less money. And Quan on the veterans minimum. I mean, the deals that we make for the talent that's underutilized, to be able to scout and know that what they have in here, right, and then what they can actually physically do, the combination of what Salah and Mike LaFleur on the other side are able to do with those is just, it's magical.
Well, we had a conversation on this podcast a few weeks back. This was right before the winning streak began, when Quinnen Williams on the sideline screaming at White Cotton, the D-line coach. And what did we say? We were saying, like, we better listen to them. This is a turning point for this team this year, where the players are frustrated. They know they're underperforming. We need to put together a better game plan, and we need to change something here. And streak right now, heading into Denver, where historically we have not played so well, but there is no doubt in my mind that we're going to get up to four wins this weekend. But we'll be getting back to you guys on week 7 later this week. But for us to be in this position to bounce back as well, we have is something. I mean, this defense carried this team, and I am the first one to say it. I'm on the hype train. I've predicted the last 3 wins. I've been saying, we are going to hit this streak. But there's a big but here. There's a big old booty here, where what the heck is going on with our passing offense? I mean, I understand we went up against one of the best passing defenses in the league. I get that. Packers defense for passing is very good. There were a lot of guys just not really getting much separation. For us to have thrown for 110 yards, and then this is 110 yards with 141-yard play to Corey Davis, that if that doesn't happen, we're in double digits passing. I don't care how good that defense is. Our defense is good. Aaron Rodgers still comes in and throws for 254. I am very concerned. I mean, God forbid, I don't even want to say it, but God forbid anything happens to Breece Hall. He is our offense. We can go and talk about the offense all we want. It's him. He is our offense. And even the past couple of games, I mean, Zach definitely showed some good things. But this was a game where this was kind of a prove-it game for Zach Wilson. And I don't think he really did. And I'm not writing him off by any means, but I was really hoping to see something more out of him, as well as the offense as a whole. I know we're going to talk in a minute about Elijah Moore, but it was disappointing to go and see the lack of passing production, because we've got a few games coming up. I mean, the Broncos pass defense also very good. We have the Bills coming up, also extremely good. we better figure some things out and learn from this game so we can go and get the passing going because, teams are going to start reading this eventually and say, hey, guys, we stopped the run and we're going to be riding pretty high. So we need to go and be able to have that dual threat, between Zach, the coaches, the wide receivers. Things are going to need to change, whether it's what, routes they're running, what reads we're doing. Something's going to have to change because, players are getting open here or there, but we're not making it happen in the air. At least we didn't this past week. And, it's something I do have concern about. But overall, tremendous team win. Like you said, defense, special teams, absolutely elite. I mean, don't even forget about Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff, that guy's been playing tremendous. Michael Clemens, my main man, with that punt block. I saw him. So Lord Tresap and I are there watching the game. And this happened on the far side of the field. And I was watching where we were sitting. I saw that you couldn't miss 7-2. You could have missed the white and green 7-2 over there. And he just barrels through the line to get that punt block. And that guy's coming along great. The depth that we have on this defense, as well as apparently in the offensive line that we've seen, is just so encouraging to see. And, if we can figure out how to get completions, if we can figure out how to throw the ball and move the chains through the air too, why the hell not? Not only wild card division, why the hell not think about the Super Bowl at some point? Dare I say it? And I know that sounds crazy, and I'm not saying that's expectation, but I ain't writing anything off right now. If we can get the passing game moving, I'm not writing anything off, but we can't really go and make that in any type of expectation for another few weeks. But great team win, and could not be happier. Woody, you made a face. Woody made a face. What did I say? What did I say?
No, stop it. Stop it.
What did I say?
I first want to talk about Zach Wilson because I just had this argument via Facebook. All right. Zach, he's all right. He's all right. It's fine. It's fine. We're not worried. The offense, it starts through the run. The offense goes through the run. We haven't seen that because for some reason we were giving Joe Flacco the keys. I don't know, to the jet. He was trying to, make everything happen through the air, and we saw what happened there. But now that Zach is back, we are executing the offense the way that it was designed. And Kyle Shanahan and those 49ers, they've been saying, yo, if we just stop the run, Jimmy G can't throw for 5 years. And they still out here making it to the Super Bowl. They made it to the NFC Championship last year. Whenever they're healthy, they're playing long into the season. So that is actually what I'm expecting to see with this. Dare I say we are the AFC Niners over here. We out here with the running attack. Now, I do hear the argument for, our offense is specifically Breece Hall, right? It's not like Michael Carter is out here with 100 yards. I love Michael Carter. I just don't think he's that explosive. That's actually why I was so sad, and Fitz knows this. You guys don't know this, but Fitz knows how sad I was when we lost Tevin Coleman because the dude has burst. He has burst. He's been doing it now that he's back in San Fran. He's been bursting over there. Michael Carter's never been a burst guy. He is elusive. He's hard to get down, right? There was even a play in Lambeau where it looked like it was a 3-yard loss. So he just was able to just wiggle his way free to get 2 yards. So that's his claim to fame. But if we have another explosive back, I do think we will be the Niners where, shall we talk about Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., JaMychal Hasty, Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon. These are all backs that they had in the last 3 years that all were very productive any game that they started because of the scheme and the success of the offensive line. And this unit that we've had in the last 2 games has produced great results. All right. So I do think that's something that we will be able to have. But I don't know if Michael Carter is, that explosive dude.
Well, I am very upset with my friend James Woody here. So first of all, I just want to say we're not the 49ers or the New York Jets. I don't want to be the 49ers. I understand you're making a comparison. I get that. I want us to be better. Like, honestly, like Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, that is a prime example of a team that there can be comparisons to that I don't want to be. I don't want, our offense to go and look like a Jimmy Garoppolo offense from the passing game. I want it to be superior. I think it can be superior. I think it should be superior. We have 3 very good wide receivers. We have a quarterback that I think still does have a very high ceiling. I'm not sleeping on him. I'm not ripping him. I'm disappointed with this game. Marching into Lambeau, it was freezing cold. We had a little bit of rain. I want us to be better than that. And, ultimately, for us to go and talk about Michael Carter and needing somebody else, I mean, Michael Carter is not getting the same attempts that Breece Hall is. I mean, let's not forget about this. And if we're talking about averages, Breece Hall, an absolute stud. He averaged 5.8 yards per attempt. Michael Carter only had 6 touches, and he had 6.8 yards per attempt. I mean, I hear what you're saying on the explosiveness versus the elusiveness, but I like a little bit of the yin and the yang. I like a little bit of both. I want to go and have, both and make that work. So ultimately, I think we do have a good duo. To go and have 20 attempts for Breece Hall and only 6 for Michael Carter, I don't think we're really giving Michael Carter as much of an opportunity, to flourish in this offense. Though, of course, the past couple of weeks we've given him some goal line touches, and he's been a very good fantasy flex option when he had 2 touchdowns. Was that last week?
Yeah, but, he won me the league.
He had 17 yards and 2 touchdowns or something ridiculous. I love the running back duo. The run game, I don't think that's something we need to go on anywhere near this season or next season when it comes to free agency, the draft. If we could pick up something, great. But I don't think we need it. I think ultimately we need to put together something to allow our passing game to do better. Because that's the thing that's also frustrating is we talk about this. You need to establish the run to be able to pass. The run's established. The run is established. The run is done. I mean, 26 attempts.
I mean, we weren't running that well. This just happened. Happened.
But it also just happened that we only threw for 110 yards and we rushed for 1.5 times that. We rushed for a significant amount more yards than we did pass. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily horrible, but there's not many teams in the NFL that are doing that. And I'm not saying that might not be a strategy that we can work with if that's what's working. But this is my fear is, God forbid something happens with Breece Hall. We need to be able to throw the ball. And if the run's established, there's really no excuse. You only have 110 in the air.
But you're the one that's saying that Michael Carter can just come in and do the same thing. So why are you so worried about
I didn't say the same thing. I said specifically I agree that he is not as, much of a burst guy. He's an elusive guy. I think that duo, they've got different speeds and different benefits that they do. But the problem is if you're rushing for 157 yards between your running backs, 157 yards, and you only throw for 110, there's something there that it's and I'm not sounding the alarm. The season's over. I just said possible Super Bowl. But we need to fix some things on how we're able to work off of the run and establish it through the air. Otherwise, teams are going to catch a glimpse, and they're going to start adjusting.
Well, let me tell you something, all right? You may not want to be something, and hey, we are the New York Jets, but our entire coaching staff, we are the children, we are the disciples of the Shanahan learning tree, which is not a bad place to be. The 49ers sucked before he came and turned them around. And then his first disciple went to the Rams, who sucked until he went there and turned them around. Both of the teams that I just named have been to the Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Another disciple went to the Packers, who were drifting. We didn't know what to think about the Packers. We thought Aaron Rodgers was washed up. Mike McCarthy got fired. And then what happened? Back-to-back back-to-back MVP, right? They've been to the NFC Championship twice. They couldn't get it done, but they've been to the NFC Championship twice. We know something about that, huh? So being in this group of people, I mean, we've been in the dumpster, and you're going to turn your nose up and say, "Oh, well, I don't want to be them." Stop that! You better stop.
Damn right. We've been rebuilding. We've been doing this. I'm not settling. That's
are they rebuilding? Are those teams rebuilding? Those teams are have been the 3 best teams in the NFL over the last 5 years. They're
Again,
not rebuilding.
I'm not talking to them. Again, we're the Jets. We're not the Niners. We're not the Packers. We're the Jets. We've been rebuilding for 12 years. I'm not going to settle for a Packers success where 12 years later we go back, we have an MVP quarterback, and what happens? They lose in the playoffs constantly. I mean, they're always losing the playoffs. Sure, they get to the NFC Championship a couple times. Great. So did we. What did it do? No Super Bowl. We need a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl caliber team, and I'm not saying that those are not good models to build off. I just said those are good models to build off of. But we have different players. We have a similar system. I want to have a system that is going to allow our quarterback, not an MVP quarterback. We don't have an MVP quarterback, no matter what way you look at it. I love Zach. He's not an MVP quarterback. We need to put something together that's going to allow a second-year quarterback that people doubted, people didn't like. He went to BYU. People had questions about the competition he went on. He's not proven yet. And we need to put together a game plan that is going to allow our quarterback to be able to pass the ball for more than 110 yards when you run for 157. That's my only thing. And again, I'm with you. I like those other teams you're mentioning. I want to be better than them. I want to go and put together something that's going to be superior to them so we can get a ring back in East Rutherford, because right now we are so close. Like, I really think we are so close. If we could establish if we could get the passing yardage up, if we can get the ball moving downfield through the air, why not? Why not this year? Why not go for it this year? And that's the only thing that I'm concerned about holding us back. And that's the only thing I'm saying, Woody. Only thing I'm saying.
Well, what I'm saying is that our cookbook, our recipe that we are using, right? Our playbook, actually, that I don't even know why I'm using metaphors. The actual book that we use, the playbook, is from that. That's why I'm trying to tell you a reference point of what to expect, because we've seen it, like, it's happened. So that's where I'm going. We're not pioneers doing this for the first time. We're trying to do it our way, which we should be doing, right? We're trying to do it our way with our players. Like you said, Zach Wilson is not Jimmy G. He's not Jared Goff. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Matthew Stafford, right? He is Zach Wilson. So I completely agree, but I'm saying this is how this system has worked for the predecessors of it. So having a rushing heavy attack, I think is a strength. Now, maybe
I'm not against that. I never said anything otherwise than that. I'm agreeing with that wholeheartedly. All I'm saying is to go and be 10 for 18 and throw for 110 yards when you're running the ball so well. We need to get more yardage than that. I mean, like, I'm not happy with that. I think we need to put together something that is better than that. I don't care how good the Packers defense is, but again, this comes down to the quarterbacks that you just listed. Matt Stafford, that guy's a veteran in the league. The guy knows what he's doing. Not worried about him. Looking at the systems that he was successful in. If you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, learned under Tom Brady. Yeah, he better be. I think he's underperformed ultimately than what he has done, and he hasn't been too bad, at least in years prior. When we go and look at Aaron Rodgers, MVP, that's a whole different. These are three different calibers of quarterback where success has been found than what we have. And my only thing, and again, I think we're closer to alignment than we think. All I'm saying is I think we need to do something a little bit different because we got a younger, less experienced quarterback that sadly establishing the run doesn't seem to be helping him. At least it didn't last week. And I want to just see some tweaks. I don't think, again, it's not big things we need to change. We need some tweaks to allow him to really break out. We never throw the ball downfield. That's a thing that I'm not really understanding. We haven't really done that this season. We had that one play to Corey Davis. We had the attempt to Elijah Moore, which we're going to tap into here in a moment, that ended up getting called back. So technically there was no targets because there was a penalty. But we went down the field to the left sideline to him. We just got to figure something out. When you got 3 tremendous wide receivers, 2 young guys and 1 veteran that I'm very glad we brought in, I want to see more cooking in the air. That's my only point.
I mean, I think, and this always goes back to trusting JD, trusting Salah, LaFleur, all that trust. I do trust that they know what's going on there. Maybe they're just giving Zach what he can handle. I
Then that's
personally,
concerning. And that could be it. But that's a little bit concerning if we think he could only handle 18 past a game when Joe Flacco's throwing 60. Like,
but the game script allowed that. The game script allowed them to pound the ball, and that's what they did. And we won by 17 points. Like when we were down by 10 and we wanted to run the ball and it wasn't happening, then we drew up the plays and Zach had the best quarter of his career and we came back to win the game. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Is Zach, MVP caliber right now? No. Is he on the level of those people that you said? No. Is he pretty close to where Jared Goff was when Sean McVay came? Yes. All right. So I feel like the game plan, they will end up climbing together, and you will see Zach Wilson play at a level where Sean McVay had people thinking that Jared Goff was an MVP that year when Todd Gurley was doing work. Right now we have Breece Hall doing work. Right, if he goes down, we're confident a little bit in the rushing attack still being able to occur, and I think eventually you're going to see that synergy of the playbook and Zach being able to make plays. Because, like you said, the pass catchers, like that is literally the least of our worries. The O-line is gelling, right? So, it's on Zach. And right now, I don't think he's there yet. I don't think we should be expecting, 300 yards, 3 TDs. I would be shocked to see that at any point in the next 3-4 games, but they could be coming.
Well, the final point I will make on this, and I'll give it to you for the last word before we move on to tweets by our man Elijah Moore. This formula of offense would have failed if it wasn't for an absolute superior defensive performance we put on. I mean, and I think that's something that I think we got to recognize is our defense to go and have a punt block, kick block. We have 4 sacks,
fumble recovery.
We had the fumble recovery, we have 5 tackles for loss. We kept Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to 60 yards. I mean, who's done that? No, who's done that ever? This defense was so good. And not to mention one of the first plays of the game, a near pick 6 by our main man, Sauce Gardner. This defense was so good that, honestly, and this is kind of the state of how far things have come for us, is I was kind of pissed we only won by 17 points. Our defense played so well that it was we should be lighting this stadium up. And that's kind of really the backbone of what I'm trying to get at is let's not get it mixed up. The defense in Breece Hall is the reason why we won this game. And if the defense, still had a great game, but not elite like they did, I think we'd be putting Zach Wilson under a little bit more of a microscope than we are right now.
Yeah, well, I think all Jets fans have the PTSD of seeing Mark Sanchez get carried in his rookie and sophomore years, carried by an elite defense and great running back. So that's probably what it is. It was fun being a Jets fan in 2009. It was also fun being a Jets fan in 2010. I'm not mad at all to have a great defense and great running back tandem lead the way. And it is the easiest way for quarterbacks to learn because you don't have to, Tom Brady, those early years had the same thing. And he, developed into Tom Brady. That happens. Even Mahomes had a nice rushing attack when he started. I mean, that happens. So I'm not going to sound the alarm. And I do think, I think we've seen already in Pittsburgh that when push came to shove, Zach was clutch. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Zach. And I'm not worried about this. I'm not. Elijah Moore, competitive, right? Tweeted out, Rich, always trying to start something. But I personally think Elijah is super competitive. All right. He wants to be targeted, but dubs supersede all, and he knows that.
I'm not concerned either. I'm not concerned. I share his frustration really with what I just said, and ultimately all I'm doing is trying to keep Zach in the offense accountable. That's all. That's really all I'm trying to do. I'm not sounding the alarm either, but his complaint is really indicative, about kind of, what I was just saying here. He's bitter. He said, he said he's not bitter. Pull that tweet back up again. He said he was bitter.
It's a bittersweet.
Right. So, what I love about Elijah Moore and why I'm not concerned about him whatsoever is, this guy is a very humble, very gracious, guy. Everything he does, he gets a touchdown, he goes up, he praises God. I love his attitude towards this game, and I've got no concerns about him. But I do share in the frustration. That's they're winning, so no complaints. But at the same time, I do feel where he's coming from, where, there's some stats that I saw. Apparently he ranked like 33rd out of 60 something receivers with X amount of routes ran. Giancarlo home run, get up 3-0, baby. Sorry about that. All right. So for him to go and rank 33rd out of, I think it was like 68 players for ability to get open. The guy gets open. So if you're running routes, you're running marathons out here on the field, and you're not getting, any looks at you. I get it. It's frustrating, but I'm with you. I'm not concerned about it. I do want to see him get more looks though, because this was supposed to be a breakout year, and the guy hasn't broken 49 yards yet this season, and that's a little bit sad, especially for fantasy owners.
Fantasy owners, that's where the biggest devastation lies. I don't think, Elijah has anything internally, to be mad at. Like you said, he has a good head on his shoulders. The game plan just hasn't really gone his way. I think, and early in his career, they kind of were using him like barriers. Like his first touchdown in his career was a rushing touchdown, so some of those plays that they use Berrios for, they could be using Elijah. They're opting to still use Berrios. Totally agree. They're using Elijah, who is the smallest of our, big three receivers. They're using him on the outside, and, Flacco's throwing him jump balls. So his usage definitely isn't the best. But again, we are winning games. And that's,
isn't that it, Woody? Like at the end of the day, hearing Jets fans complain about it, I feel it. But before the season started, if someone came up to you and they said, all right, here's the deal. You could take the red pill or you could take the blue pill. The red pill is Elijah Moore has a breakout second season. He's averaging 100 receiving yards a game and 2 touchdowns a game. Or you could be 4-2. What are you taking? You're taking the 4-2. You're taking.
Hopefully that doesn't mean I end the season 4-13. Hopefully I would like to have I'd like to have a breakout Jet season versus a breakout Elijah season.
Of course, and that's exactly it. Where it's like, what? If we could be in this position where we're 4-2, expecting to get to 5-2 this Sunday, and Elijah Moore isn't a part of the game plan, that stinks. Like that hurts. We love this kid, but ultimately we're well situated, and he will find his spot. The kid's got too much talent that they will find a place for him. And I think looking at what happened after Quinnen Williams got fired up on the sidelines, he goes and breaks out. Not that he was necessarily slow the first few games, but he broke out in a big way the past couple. So I think this actually could end up being a good thing for Elijah Moore, where this has become a little bit more public. And I'd expect to see a little bit more of him in the coming weeks.
Well, just like you said, we are kind of in the midst of a breakout season. We feel it, we know it, and we're not the only ones, because Pro Football Talk came out with their Week 7 power rankings. And, I don't even remember the last time this deep into the season the Jets were anywhere. I don't even know if they've been above 30 7 weeks into a power rankings in the last 5 years. But, Fitz, walk us through what we're seeing.
So there's a couple things here. I was just talking to my good buddy Frank about this, and he's like, he's a Giants fan now. He's like, you know what? It's 5A, 5B, Giants and Jets. Uh, love that we've seen some New York teams looking good here, but I think there's a couple things ultimately here that really stand out. We're going into week 7. The Rams, the defending Super Bowl Rams at 18, that's a shocker. And you could only imagine. You were just hyping up the coach, and you're right. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. That ain't going to last. They will be climbing back up that leaderboard in no time. If you go and look at the Bucs at 11, Tom Brady and the Bucs to be out of the top 10, that is not going to. You can't expect that to last very long. The Chargers at 15. The Bengals at 12, the Packers even at 10. There are some teams here that are really dropping, and I think we need to make sure. This is why, we really have to have ultimate accountability. As a Jets fan, you cannot be happier about how this season's been going, but I think it's really important that we continue to grow, continue to throw some new things out in the field, experiment, make sure we're putting out the best game plan every week, because there are a lot of teams on this list that I think rank a little bit lower than I think what their true ability is. This is a reactive list based off of, single game performances where you look at the Bucs drop 6 numbers. Can't see where the Chargers came down from, but they dropped to get to where they are there. So, I love to see us climbing up the leaderboards. That is a beautiful thing. But we got some teams on this list that I think truly should be higher. And I think they will be climbing up as the weeks go by. So we got to keep this offense accountable. We got to make sure, we are putting together game plans. And if it's one of these things where week after week, it's a different game plan, and it's not going to be, maybe we throw more, in a couple weeks, maybe against Patriots. I don't know when we really see a better opportunity to get some more of the air game going. I mean, the Packers are great, but Broncos are very good. Patriots, Bills, and the Patriots again. We've got a tough schedule coming up, and so far, past 3 weeks, nothing but trust for Michael Seelan. There he is. Hey, Michael. So we've got some tests ahead of us, and I would love to see us retain this and not just be at 7 and then we start coming back down. Because just Jets fans, we're accustomed. We might get a little hot for a minute, and then 2015. Unfortunately, we don't make it in week 17 that week. So
Ryan Fitzpatrick stinking it up.
Watch your mouth. But gotta love seeing this, seeing respect on the Jets name. Can't possibly be happier ultimately.
Yeah, I have very little respect for any individual ranking. I mean, this PFT was 7, ESPN has us at 9, NFL has us at 13. The Bengals, who are 12th, I think are 4th in the ESPN one. I mean, rankings, they literally they almost mean nothing. But what we do know is that AFC standing wise, we're pretty high up there. Okay, if the Bills had lost, actually, we would be number 2 in the AFC. So I think that's the main ranking that matters. I do agree. Passing game. If we had Patrick Mahomes on the roster that we just have, like this roster that we have, we just added Patrick Mahomes, we would be a Super Bowl contender. So
it would be 60-10 against Packers. 60-10, we would have won.
So I see what you're saying, or I hear what you're saying. Maybe our disagreement is actually in the ceiling / where he is right now of Zach Wilson. I don't think Zach Wilson will be Patrick Mahomes or his idol Aaron Rodgers. So what I saw from him in Lambeau isn't as disappointing to me, perhaps because his ceiling is not as high to me. But, I mean, he can be perfectly fine. I do think we can win a ring with Zach Wilson as our QB, provided that our running attack, our defense, especially like what we just saw, if that happens, Zach does have the clutch gene. I think he will be good enough to get the win, and I know you're looking for more. You want him to be Aaron Rodgers. You want him to, throw 400 yards and get 4 TDs anytime he can. I just don't know. I don't know if that'll happen.
Well, my co-host here, folks, he is our chief editor. He every week comes out with the Wudi 3. I cannot wait to see what you come up with with this week. Each week he looks at 3 things, and he is a tremendous writer. He has a very good perspective. He breaks down 3 things that we need to do to win a game. For the next couple of weeks, there's going to be only one thing Fitz is going to be looking at, and that's going to be what is Zach? How does Zach look? Because one of the things that you talked about, Woody, there right before his first game back was completion percentage. 10 for 18. It's a low attempts number. I don't know if he'd really even qualify to get a percentage with only 18 attempts, but fine. I mean, and no, not terrible, but I just want to see more. It's not necessarily, I'm not saying we should change the game plan. We won 27-10 in Lambeau against the Packers. That game plan worked. I'm not complaining about that. The only thing I'm saying is it's something that this is the missing piece for us to be true Super Bowl contenders. And if we can figure out a way to get more yards in the air, I think this could be a team that, screw them all. Like put them in the Super Bowl. Like I really like this defense is too good. We got so many good pieces on the offense for us to do what we're doing on the offensive line with so many injuries. If like you said, if we did have Patrick Mahomes, my Lord, I would be horrified to be marching into MetLife in January. So, yeah, we'll see what happens this coming Sunday. We'll see is our dear friend, the media expert, the best media-trained quarterback in the NFL, Russell Wilson. Is he going to be playing Broncos country? Will they be riding? I don't think so, but we're going to see. So tune in, everybody. This week, probably Thursday, we're going to be putting up our preview to Week 7. Very excited about that. Is it going to be how do you pronounce it? Ripien?
Oh,
Ripien. Yeah, spelled silly. But we're excited for that. So tune in for Thursday this week, and we're going to be giving it to you Thursday, and then getting back to the Sunday groove for the recaps on Sunday. And appreciate the patience for me to get my voice back for this week's post game. Woody, close us out, baby.
All right, that's this edition of the Take Flight Talk. All right, we'll see you on Thursday for the next flight. JETS, Jets.